Everybody, July 21st, 2025 here with your after hours recap. So quickly, I don't think that the market did anything too poorly today. Some of the momentum trade finally started to unwind, leading first by QS. I thought 1420s was a pretty decent level this morning and a pretty big fade right off the open, about 20% down. Just kind of goes to show you how quickly these volatile names in particular, if they're volatile and fast moving on the way up, they tend to be something pretty similar on the mean reversion. QS a bit of an unwind today. Joby a bit of an unwind today. Nothing egregious on day one, but a pretty big pullback and then continuation in after hours, almost $16 in after hours. Archer, same deal. Pretty nasty pullback here. And again, some Oklo, which I am long. Unfortunately, I had to go ahead and take my ass kicking in this. But I have trimmed on the way up. So if you don't trim on the way up, you're really feeling the pain on the way down. Fortunately, we have trimmed on the way up. So although this pullback sucked, it wasn't the end-all be-all. I did get short Joby today. And so I am, kind of being rewarded on the other side of the trade. And, for the most part, I thought today was okay. Just a bit of an unwind of that momentum trade that I just mentioned. Otherwise, ARC was pushing nicely this morning, obviously finished on the lows. And then some CCL, nice and green on the day. But again, just a little upper wick. DraftKings I picked up today. Right over yesterday's highs, closed pretty well. We'll see if this thing can get going over $45 tomorrow. Crypto stayed pretty heavy today, and kind of noted in a candle like iron. I mean, this is pretty disgusting. There's really no other way to put it. Huge pickup in volume. Right, it's like you had this beautiful, what I thought, consolidation, but extended from the 50 simple moving average. If you're ever going to take a trade like this, it's just kind of as like a little boost to the equity curve. You can't sit there long, right? A push into 20, 21, right? You have to be peeling into that as you kind of catch that one ATR typical move for an iron, which is about 10% per day. So, if you're buying this thing over 18 and a half, call it $19. Once you get that 10% move to 20 and a half, you got to be prudent and take some off. If you don't, all day colonoscopy and then close at low of day. So it's like add insult to injury, beautiful move, and then complete and utter failure. I don't know what that's going to do to the momentum trade. Like I said, I unfortunately sat in some of that owning an Oklo, but I did try to cover some of that, being short a Joby, and then, obviously everything that had everybody's attention today was this open door, a pretty disgusting move back down, right? Almost traded 2 billion shares today. I don't think I've seen something like that since, 2020 maybe. Something like, I don't even know if SPI did something like that on the day. It went from like $1 to 46, but just kind of goes to show you real frothy, some real froth going on out there. And so it's just kind of natural for things to unwind a little bit. Otherwise, some nice action in a name like Amazon, just kind of grinding higher. Some decent little action in some Google. So, not all was lost. Meanwhile, in NVIDIA, just a slight little pullback today, has earned the right to go sideways for a month. I know people don't want to hear that, right? It's like you've got this AEVA, and people see the nasty down move. And when I see a move like this, really just like this, and then I say, oh, this thing could go sideways for 6 months. People are like, what? 6 months? They see this consolidation before today, and everybody just assumes it's back off to the races after this massive move. It's like, look no further than ASTS, right? ASTS, after making its huge move, literally went sideways for, I don't know what the hell this was, I don't even know what this was, like 7-8 months. So that's fairly typical for something that goes up 1,000%. I know people think that things just continue to go to the moon, but that's not the reality. You want to make sure you're not buying things that are super extended. SE, again, another one of these names that I had on watch, just completely got its ass kicked today. And, it was somewhat similar across the board in a bunch of names, just some reversals out there, more so in the momentum trade, more than anything. but I didn't think anything was super wrong. CrowdStrike, kind of stuck out to me a little bit today, and we did bounce a bit, but it's like everything started to fade a little bit in the cyberspace once PanW announced that they might be buying out Sentinel-1. Obviously, they bounced a little bit, but just kind of shows you the volatility out there. It's not the easiest to get repositioned. I've had a little bit more luck these past few days. A few days ago, I bought Toast, and this was up 1.7% today, so that is a welcome sight. I bought this a few days ago as this thing was pulling back. About $46 is where I got in. Tesla, I got in on Friday, and I had a little bit of a gap up overnight, and then you gave most of that back, but really no big deal. Didn't finish too red in my opinion. Oklo, this one's the one that probably hurt most, down about 9% today. Not a lot of fun. And then IBIT, slight red today. ARC, from green to red today. But CCL, DraftKings, there's some good with some bad. The momentum trade, like I said, unwound a little bit. The metal space I thought was really good. I talked about it in last night's watch list video. Silver still looks pretty good. Gold actually looks fantastic. Super big base on gold, being built out. I won't be too surprised if gold is also breaking out here pretty soon. KGC looks pretty damn good. WPM to me looks pretty damn good. NEM looks pretty damn good. So, there's still a lot of good action in that space, despite, some of the more recent action. But I still think AU, I still think AG, I still think KGC, GFI, there's multiple names. WPM's probably, was my favorite going into this morning. No, I did not buy any, so unfortunately for now, I'm on the outside looking in. Probably the most notable move today, congratulations to the A-Lab holders. Huge pickup in volume today. Finally broke over, that $100 level on Friday. Gap up today, continuation. I mean, just absolutely monster action. All while, an AMD and an NVIDIA, were a little bit weaker. AVGO I thought was completely fine today. TSM I thought was just fine too. Some of these names, like I said, they have earned the right to digest. So there's really nothing broken out there, just a bit of some unwinding in the more speculative, whether it be crypto names. Guys, I joked about it this morning. Literally, the news in 2025 is this company buys Bitcoin, this company buys Ethereum Treasury, this company is buying some effing Dogecoin. I don't know how this ends, but I can't imagine everybody following Sailor off the deep end is going to end well. Eventually, these companies, they're going to be liquidated. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's going to happen. There's this, in my heart of hearts, there's about a 0% chance this shit ends well. I know nobody wants to believe it. Even I don't want to believe it. I hope that it goes on for forever. But there is going to come a time when a lot of these companies, they're buying Bitcoin at $110, $112, $115,000, and Bitcoin unwinds 30%, and these companies got to dilute some more. So effectively, they just become diluting machines, just like MSTR. Some people will call it accretion. I call it dilution. And morons holding the bag will call it accretion too. So, it is what it is. But it's just like, I don't know how many companies today did that. I felt like it was like 5 or 6 or 7 pieces of news where companies are diluting to raise money for. I posted about it. It was like Game, Holo. It was too many to count. It was like 6 or 7 right off the top of my head, and maybe I can pull it up just to kind of put light on the situation. But let's see. ATHR, Holo, Game, DJT, BTOG, KWM. Like I said, it's just a big joke at this point with the amount of companies who are just diluting shareholders to raise money. In particular, it's one thing to buy Bitcoin, which in my opinion is the leader. It's another thing to buy Ethereum, I think maybe second place. It's another thing to buy Dogecoin with infinity supply. So, stupid, monkey see, monkey do, and it's just kind of the market we're in right now until things completely implode, and then you better hope you're not the one left holding the bag. So anyway, a bit of an unwind in the speculative names, momentum stocks. Otherwise, I still thought things were pretty decent. Google and Amazon stood out the most. Those most recently have been on the watch list. I just have not been able to buy them. They don't really have setups that scream momentum. I'm going to buy it here and I'm going to catch a nice momentum trade, be able to trim some off and then trail. That's just not been the case. So, I've just kind of left them alone. Unless you're willing to buy them, why not your stop? Use the 50, use the 20, something like that. But yeah, I didn't really think anything super notable today other than the unwinds in the speculative stuff. I do have some Joby, so that is really nice. I caught a decent little short at the open on QS, so that is pretty nice from pre-market. And that is really about it. Nothing super, like I said, crazy. Open, had every day trader's interest today, so, that's about it. Anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys all bright and early for pre-market prep. Cheers.